Users that were going to Business Week online was now downloading malware from a Russian site. October of 2008, an area of Adobe's website was also hacked, and it was hacked again through a SQL injection attack, which allowed for all kinds of things to take place. Now, if we look again at the vulnerabilities here against applications, because that's really where it's at, these are all the kind of the impact of having system-level access, the impact of having denial of service, just bringing a service down, cross-site scripting, manipulation of data. That's really where it's all at. If you look at the jump, it went from 111 in 2003 to 1,162 in 2008. Manipulation of data is really where it's at. Accessing the data is where all attackers are really going after. Security bypass and so on and so forth. But the main thing there is just to note that, we still have 993 classified as unknown. Not sure what the impact is. We don't really know what the impact is of those vulnerabilities. But if you look at all of these, the main thing I wanted you to notice is that most of the focus is on manipulation of data and privilege escalation, which means getting root or administrative privileges on our box after getting access to data. Email threats. 2005, 2006, 2008, well, of course, there is a lot more use of email. There's a lot more people using email over this time, but this is the percentage of email that is actually infected with malicious attachments. Now, let's look at that. The majority of 31% of the malicious attachments were this Trojan software, 31%. Now, if you've never seen what a Trojan can do, pretty much have full control of your machine without you having any knowledge of it. The old Trojans were, did goofy things like flipping your screen upside down and, not allowing you to move your mouse and things that were just kind of funny. It looked like somebody flushed your desktop down. Those were the old Trojans. The new Trojans are all intended to be extremely stealthy and all reverse connecting, which means they will bypass any firewalls because they're actually communicating outbound. Not the way they used to be, which was you connecting to the Trojan. These Trojans just constantly go, hey, I'm here, hey, I'm here, hey, I'm here. And then the person controlling them can then say, well, this is what I want you to do. Now, these are all Trojans, really. They all have different functionalities. So these were the top 10 email attachments in 2008 that had to do with malware. Let's talk about spam by location, because this is one of the ways it's done. Of course, spam still works. We haven't stopped spam. Like I said, 97% of all email is spam. And the thing with spam is that it works. If 2 or 3% of 2 million people happen to open that email and happen to click on that link, it's a very successful campaign if you were a salesperson. So looking at this here, top 12 spam relaying countries, the top one is the US. We're still, well, we've done real good at stopping the relaying of spam. And you'll notice, 35.9% is quote-unquote other. What is other? Other is called Asia, okay? We're not exactly sure whether it's China or whether it's somewhere else, but they're mostly from that side of the world. In fact, if you look at it by continent, 36.6% of spam relay comes from Asia, with Europe and North America following that as far as continents are concerned. All right, so now let's talk about adding some links to this malicious spam. Forget about attachments. Why don't we just use a link, right? Since really it's all client side now, right? So notice my BAM up there. I added some malicious links to an email, and bam, you've really got access to ridiculous resources. In fact, cloud computing-like resources, if you're an attacker. Now let's look at a case study of one of these links as opposed to using a malicious attachment. In September of 2008, an email was widely spammed containing a link to what was said to be a pornographic video of US presidential candidate Barack Obama. All right, this was, as you can imagine, spammed to millions and millions and millions of users. It was just a link in there, and when you clicked on that link, nope, it wasn't a pornographic video of Barack Obama. It was a pornographic video, but it was not one of Barack Obama. The moment that video executed, actually your machine was already loaded with a Trojan. So again, a lot of people, hey, well, funny cat. Everybody has to go look at the funny cat, right? So Malware is is really a short term for malicious software. And the thing is all of these different things that we're going to be talking about really fall under malware. However, the term computer virus is really the term that consumers use for malware. A virus technically is something different than a Trojan or a rootkit or whatever, but the point is that it's all malware. It's just that most of the non-technical community call it a virus. So I have a virus on my computer. It's going very slow. I think I have a virus on my computer. You really don't hear people say, I have malware on my computer. Now, if we look at malware by location, notice that 24.5% of this malware is targeted towards the English-speaking world. After that, who's second? China. Most of their software is targeted to Chinese, meaning they're in Chinese language as far as malware that we find out there. German, French, Russian, Brazilian, and other. So now we have this new term called scareware. And scareware is really nothing more than something that really, for the most part, scares people into having to install. In my mind, it's really a social engineering trick. It's excellent online social engineering. You get a pop-up that says your machine has been, I'm sure somebody's seen it in here, your machine has been infected with blah, and you need to download this package so that you can get rid of it. Your machine hasn't been infected by anything, and the moment that you go to that website and quote-unquote purchase the product, so they are still taking your money, the product doesn't really do anything. If anything, it's really more of a data mining tool for mostly marketing and sales related stuff behind the scenes. But scareware is very, like spam, very successful. So Apple, everybody goes, well, I have a Mac, and I don't really have to worry about viruses or anything like that. The truth is that's not entirely true. Certainly Macs are less targeted by far than a Windows environment is, but there has been the emergence of, as Macs and Apple have become more and more popular, there has been the emergence of the first financially motivated malware against Apple and Mac in 2007, which basically was a Flash-based Trojan. So still very server-side oriented, where you were into a site that was running something Flash, and that would infect a Mac. Again, another one was discovered in 2008, capable of infecting macOS computers due to the ARDA, or the ARD vulnerability in macOS. So there are vulnerabilities on any system, those that we know of, and there's many more that we don't know of. So Apple users as a soft target, the more that continues to grow, the more that there'll be a focus from the hacking or attacker community. Malware aimed at Macs, like I said, will continue to be written, and the best thing that we can do is continue to say that, safe computing practices apply to Macs just like they would to PCs. Then we got mobile devices and Wi-Fi. In 2008, to great fanfare, and I got one too, an iPhone or an Android. Great, we can all surf the web 3G right now. And we have these great new little devices that do all kinds of stuff, but they are a great target for an attacker because there's things like the fact that they have to enter URLs into the URL screen, which are touch sensitive, and users on a mobile device will be more willing to click on a URL link from an email than actually going and putting anything in the URL. And as you well know, the blue link that you see in an email isn't the actual link. It's just, there's a link behind that in HTML that could be pointing to somewhere else. The other thing is, due to real estate on a phone, the fact that you can't see a full URL, you click on a URL and you're certainly not going to know if there's anything being passed in that URL that shouldn't be passed. For example, the fact that you might not be going to your banking website. You can get an email that looks like it's from your bank. I need you to go here and validate this and that. And users on an iPhone or an Android would not know the difference, would not really know what's in the URL because they can't see the full URL. So that's one of the many issues that exist with that. Now, data leaks. Data leaks are huge. The very first thing that I or any of my friends as attackers or ethical hackers will do during a security test is